The 4th generation of Pokemon introduced a number of improvements to the game. One thing that it added was a whole lot of new evolutions. Previously weak Pokemon like Aipom, Gligar, and Murkrow were given a new chance to become stronger, although in Diamond and Pearl most of these Pokemon weren't even available annoyingly. However, most of them can be obtained in Platinum, so that's where I will be doing this challenge. There are 22 new evolutions, though Honchkrow and Mismagius are not available in Platinum, leaving 20 unique encounters. A couple of them are doubled up, but this still leaves me plenty of strong ones to work with. Let's see how I do. Full rule set in the description, but to summarize, play on set mode, no items in battle, and no leveling past the next gym leader's highest level Pokemon. None of the starters qualify for this challenge. I picked Chimchar because it can help out with HMs, but I can get my real starter right after I reach Jubilife City, when I catch a Budew on Route 204. I name him Gusty Garden. Since Budew is a friendship evolution, I can immediately evolve him into Roselia. He's the only mon I can get before Rourke, but the Rock-type Master doesn't really pose much of a difficulty to my special attacking Grass-type. All 3 of his Pokemon fall to a single Mega Drain. After rescuing the Honey Seller from some Galactic Goons in Floroma Meadow, I get access to Honey, which allows me to get my second encounter, Space Junk the Aipom from Route 205. Now it's time to fight Gardenia. Gusty Garden quad resists grass moves, which means that I can set up basically for free on her Turtwig, which only knows grass attacks. I set up 6 growths and then take out the Turtwig with a few Mega Drains while also healing back to full. Cherim also goes down after a few attacks, leaving only her Roserade. This part takes a while, because I can only attack with quad-resisted grass moves, and she has to either do likewise or use a 15 power Poison Sting. But my plus 6 special attack means this is pretty safe. Eventually I pick up my second badge. Now I have to face Jupiter in the Galactic Eterna building. Luckily, I was given the TM for Return from Professor Rowan, which is quite powerful at max friendship. Space Junk is able to defeat the Zubat with a single return. The Skuntank takes just less than half from one. I hit it with a Tickle so that another return will kill, and this is fine so long as I don't get crit by Night Slash, but it just misses 2 poison gases so it goes down. As it turns out, I can get Nose Pass on the ground floor of Mount Coronet. I thought it was only on the upper floors, so I actually could have used it for Jupiter, but oh well, it worked out. Anyway, I name him Battle Rock, and I can immediately evolve him into Probopass, which is pretty sweet. I am also given an egg from Cynthia, which I quickly hatch into a Togepi. I name him Good Egg, of course. On Route 206, I catch a Gligar and name him Dusty Dune. I also gain access to Wayward Cave, which is home to a horrible set of bike puzzles. But after struggling with these for a while, I'm able to pick up the TM for Earthquake. Gligar is strong, Gliscor is even better, and with Earthquake it can start hitting hard right away, although it won't be useful against Fantina. In Hearthome City I get an Eevee as a gift from Bibi. I name him Gateway. And on Route 208 I catch a male Ralts naming him Buoy Base. With that, I can finally assemble a full team of 6 to face the next gym leader, Fantina. I lead off with Gusty Garden, who manages to miss 2 Leech Seeds before finally setting one up, although he does take a few hits and suffer a burn. From there I switch to Battle Rock, who is pre-paralyzed so he can't be harmed by Duskull's Will-O-Wisp. With the Leech Seed healing and Battle Rock's great bulk, he can't really be touched by anything, so I can take Duskull out pretty safely by spamming Rock Throw. Next out is Mismagius. I stay in to hit a Thunder Wave, then get confused but connect with a crit Rock Throw. That's actually kinda bad because it activates the Citrus Berry, which I plan to steal with Space Junk's Thief, but I keep trying to hit Rock Throws until I'm no longer safe to stay in. Then I switch to Good Egg on a crit Magical Leaf and Encore into Magical Leaf so I can safely bring in Gusty Garden, whose natural cure ability has healed his burn. That allows me to set up a Leech Seed, after which I can stall it out with Good Egg using Encore again when it runs out so that it can never use anything but Magical Leaf, which does very little. Eventually the Leech Seed finishes it off. Last up is Haunter, but it can't hit normal types except with Sucker Punch, so it's a slow process of switching around and using status moves. After hitting it with some sand attacks from Gateway and some tickles from Space Junk, I can eventually take it out with a Thief. Now I gain access to a lot more of the map. On Route 215 I catch a Lickitung and name him Big Mouth. In Veilstone City I'm gifted a Porygon, I name them Toy Time. On Route 209 I catch a Duskull whom I name Ghostly, and on Route 214 I catch a Rhyhorn named Sand Spiral. In the Great Marsh I can get either Tangela or Yanma. I'd prefer Tangela, but I end up finding Yanma, but it doesn't matter because it runs away after 2 balls anyway. Oh well. I've also picked up a Dawnstone to evolve Buoy Base into Gallade and a Razorfang to evolve Dusty Dune into Gliscor. Both of these will come in very handy at the next gym, which is the Fighting-type Master Maylene. She leads Meditite and I lead Buoy Base. I get hit with a Fake Out, which gives Buoy Base a speed boost thanks to his Steadfast ability, and then he takes the Meditite out with a single Psycho Cut. Machoke comes out next, but also goes down to 1. Now it's only Hulucario, which is walled pretty well by Dusty Dune. It misses a Metal Claw and then is taken out by an Earthquake. Then it's immediately time to face off against Pastoria City's gym leader, Crasher Wake. Toy Time, who is now a Porygon 2, comes in handy here, as they can trace Gyarados' Intimidate, meaning they take very little from a Waterfall. They do get flinched, but they can then take a second Waterfall and fire off a Thunderbolt to defeat the Gyarados. When the Fulta comes out, I can heal up with a couple recovers before firing off a second Thunderbolt that also gets the one-shot. Last is Quagsire, but I switch to Buoy Base, who takes a Mud Shot pretty well and then takes it out with a Leaf Blade. After getting the HM for Surf, I can access Fuego Ironworks, where I can find Magnemite or Magmar. I prefer Magmar because it's the only fire type available, and I end up getting one. I name him Melty Molten. Before challenging Byron, I have to make a visit to Iron Island. I don't have to explore the whole thing with Riley, but I decide to do it, and I'm not expecting these battles to be tough, but I run into a double battle with two ace trainers who have a lot of fighting and ground type moves, which my Pokemon don't like, and neither does Riley's Lucario. The Lucario goes down after just a few turns, leaving me in a 1v2 versus a Lopunny with Jump Kick and a Staraptor with Close Combat when half of my team is weak to fighting. Dusty Dune is my best chance to handle this, but she gets confused by a Dizzy Punch and instantly hits herself, putting her so low that she can't stay in, so this is really bad. I bring in Melty Molten, and get lucky enough to trigger Flame Body on both of them, but they're still hitting hard and I don't have much that can take the hits. After a bunch of switching, the Lopunny goes down to the burn, and out comes Medicham, another hard-hitting fighting type. I end up staying in with Battle Rock and hoping he can take the fighting moves, but of course he can't, so I take my first death of the run. At least with Lopunny gone, I can safely bring in Dusty Dune and heal up with Roost. As a bonus, the opponents bring out Hippopotas, which sets up a Sandstorm activating my Sand Veil ability, allowing me to fish for a high jump kick miss from Medicham, which I eventually get. I have to risk a ton of crits, but I finally get the situation under control, as the Medicham dies to crash damage and I can fire off a few Earthquakes into the Curlia and the Hippopotas, ending the godforsaken battle. But that really wasn't good. I mentioned that entire ordeal wasn't mandatory. Indeed, it was all just so I could get a Shiny Stone, which allows me to evolve Good Egg into Togekiss. Togekiss won't be super helpful right now, but he will eventually come in very handy. Battle Rock's sacrifice won't be completely in vain, at least. For now though, I have to take on the Heavy Metal Master Byron, and this fight is one of the reasons I wanted Magmortar. Using the choice specs I got from Celestic Town, Melty Molten can tear through 2/3 of Byron's team with Lava Plume. For the final third, Bastiodon, I pivot to Sand Spiral on a Stone Edge, then a Dusty Dune on a Taunt. Then I fire off an Earthquake to claim my 6th gym badge. Now I'm headed into the snowy routes. There are a lot of good ice types available to me. First I pick up a female Snorunt on Route 216, whom I name Freeze Flame. Then I catch a Swinub on Route 217, naming her Beach Bowl, and finally I get a Sneasel on Acuity Lakefront, whom I name Deep Dark. Then I need to face off against the ice type expert Candace. Again, Melty Molten comes in very handy, taking down the Sneasel with a Flamethrower after taking a bit from Feint Attack. Piloswine is slower and also falls to a Flamethrower, as does Abomasnow. Her Frostlass comes out last. Not only do I definitely not outspeed this, its Snowcloak ability is active thanks to the Hail Abomasnow setup, so my moves don't have perfect accuracy. Fortunately, I have a solution, and that solution is my new friend Deep Dark. As it turns out, Frostlass is faster than Deep Dark by 1 point, but I have a trick up my sleeve. Payback, which hits with double power if the user is slower. I just need to hit one Payback as the Frostlass spams double team. Eventually I do, and it takes it down in one hit, earning me my 7th badge. Now I have to deal with Team Galactic's hijinks. I'm joined by my rival to face off against Mars and Jupiter. I lead Melty Molten and he leads Munchlax into their Bronzors. I fire off a Flamethrower into Jupiter's Bronzor because it knows Rock Slide, which of course knocks it out. The other Bronzor sets up Light Screen, but that doesn't matter because when the Skuntank comes out I switch to Dusty Dune. But I get immediately confused by a Confuse Ray, so I switch to Sand Spiral. Munchlax goes down this turn, which is good because it's useless, and then my rival brings out Staraptor. Staraptor takes out Bronzor with a Close Combat and then hangs on from a Flamethrower, and then I hit Skuntank pretty hard with a Stone Edge. Mars sends out Perugly, who finishes off Staraptor, and then I get burned by a Flamethrower, which is annoying, so I switch to Dusty Dune as they double up into Heracross. My rival sends out Rapidash next, but I need to get rid of the Skuntank with an Earthquake, so unfortunately Rapidash ends up being collateral damage. But now Jupiter's down to just her Golbat. I hit the Golbat with an Aerial Ace, then decide to set up a Swords Dance so that a second Aerial Ace will take it out. Empoleon takes the Giga Drain pretty well as it continues to target Perugly, eventually taking it out with an Aqua Jet as I kill the Golbat with another Aerial Ace. Then it's just Mars's Golbat left, which easily goes down to an Aerial Ace plus a Metal Claw. Then I'm challenged by the boss himself, Cyrus. You actually fight Cyrus 3 times in fairly quick succession, but the first 2 fights are pretty easy because his mons aren't fully evolved. This one, however, is not. He leads Houndoom and I lead Deep Dark. Looks risky, but I know that I can outspeed and one-shot it with a dig, and I'd rather not take any chances on a Houndoom if you catch my drift. Honchkrow comes out next, so I switch to Sand Spiral on a Drill Peck. Then I take a Psychic and knock it out with a strong Stone Edge, with its accuracy boosted to 96% thanks to a Zoom Lens. Gyarados is third, and I switch to Toy Time, who survives a Waterfall, though it looks like a crit might have been bad. They're then able to outspeed and take it down with a Thunderbolt. Cyrus then sends out his own Weavile, and in response I bring in Big Mouth, with the plan to smack this thing with a quad-effective Focus Blast, also accuracy boosted from a Zoom Lens. And the crazy thing is that I knew this wouldn't kill, because Big Mouth has 0 special attack IVs and a minus special attack nature, but fortunately he is tanky enough to survive a few hits, and he can finish it off with a Rock Climb. Cyrus's Crobat is last, but Ghostly takes its moves well enough to switch in and set up a Curse, after which I just have to waste time until the Crobat goes down. Sand Spiral does take a crit Air Slash, so I bring in Melty Molten, who gets down to just 8 HP from a crit Cross Poison but takes it out with Flamethrower, defeating Cyrus and saving the world. Now on to the last gym leader, Volkner. And he should have been easy. He leads Jolteon, I lead Dusty Dune. She takes a very weak Iron Tail and knocks it out with an Earthquake. Then Luxray comes out, and I outspeed and hit another Earthquake. But it doesn't kill. Yeah, I should have done my calcs on that one. Luckily, Rivalry means that Dusty Dune survives the Ice Fang, but that could have been very bad. After Volkner heals, 2 more Earthquakes finish it off. Electivire comes out third, so I switch to Sand Spiral who walls it completely. Even though it instantly burns me with Fire Punch, it can't do enough damage and I'm still able to 2-shot it with Earthquake. Raichu's left, so I bring in my starter Gusty Garden who we haven't seen in a while, and I set up Leech Seed while I take less than half from a crit Signal Beam. Between Leech Seed and Giga Drain healing, Gusty Garden has no trouble taking Raichu out while remaining healthy. Before heading to the Pokemon League, I pop back to Route 222 and catch an Electabuzz. Since I don't have Battle Rock anymore, I was hoping for Magnemite, but oh well, I name him Gold Leaf. After battling my way through Victory Road, I have one more obstacle before the Elite Four, a final challenge from my rival. I haven't showed previous rival fights because they weren't too hard, but I'll show this one because it did require a bit of planning. Anyway, he leads Staraptor, and I got mixed up about his lead, so I lead Sand Spiral but end up switching on the first turn. I switch to Ghostly expecting a close combat, but he U-turns into Empoleon, so I take the opportunity to burn it with a Will-O-Wisp after I take a good chunk from Shadow Claw. I switch to Good Egg hoping for another Shadow Claw, but again I predict wrong and take a pretty hard brine. I set up Reflect in preparation for his scary physical attackers, then I switch to Gold Leaf, who survives the brine and can finally take out the Penguin with a Thunderbolt. Snorlax is in next, so I go to Dusty Dune on an Earthquake, then I set up a Swords Dance as it fortunately doesn't paralyze the Body Slam. An Earthquake doesn't quite kill it, so I Swords Dance again as he rests. Then I take the free turns from rest to heal up with Roost and Swords Dance a third time before taking it out with an Earthquake. Now my master plan is complete, and Dusty Dune is able to one-shot the entire rest of Barry's team. Gliscor really is such a strong Pokemon. Now it's time to take on the Elite Four. Here's my final team at a level cap of 59, which matches Lucian's Gallade. Let's see if I can do it. Bug Lover Aaron is up first. Thanks to the level difference, I'm not that worried, but I do still need to be careful. I lead Good Egg into his Yanmega. We trade Air Slashes and his crits, but mine still does way more. His Ace Drapion comes out second, so I switch to Melty Molten on an Ice Fang, then take a crit Cross Poison that also poisons, marking the second time Melty Molten has almost died to Cross Poison. Luckily, he is able to take it out with the Specs boosted Flamethrower and survive the poison damage. Next is Vespiquen, so I switch to Sand Spiral who takes almost nothing from Power Gem or Attack Order, and can knock it out with a quad effective Stone Edge. Fourth is Scizor, so I go to Dusty Dune who takes less than half from a crit Night Slash. With her great defense, she walls this very well, so I can leisurely set up a few Swords Dances while healing up with Roost. Then an Earthquake for Scizor and an Aerial Ace for Heracross, and Aaron is defeated. Next up is Bertha. Her Whiscash melts to a Giga Drain, then she sends out a Gliscor of her own. Now, I maybe don't need to be quite as careful as I end up being, but I definitely prefer to be safe if possible, and we've already shown that Gliscor is scary. This Gliscor has Earthquake, Ice Fang, Fire Fang, and Thunder Fang. My goal is to get to Deep Dark safely, because Deep Dark is the only one that can outspeed in one shot. Here, it could go for Earthquake, Ice Fang, or Fire Fang, so I switch to Good Egg. Luckily it uses Earthquake. Then, it could be Ice Fang or Thunder Fang, so I switch to Melty Molten, who takes nothing from Ice Fang. Now it's definitely going for Earthquake, so I can safely bring in Dusty Dune, and then it's definitely going for Ice Fang, so I can safely bring in Deep Dark, who then nails it with an Ice Punch. An elaborate maneuver, but it's worth it to take out her biggest threat with no risk. Now the Golem is out, I go back to Dusty Dune, who takes almost no damage from its attacks. The only thing I have to fear is a Fire Punch burn, which immediately happens, but I planned for this and equipped a Rostberry. I do decide to set up 2 more Swords Dances to ensure a one-shot on Hippowdon, which was actually bad and risked another burn. I got too worried about Yawn, not realizing that Hippowdon would come out last and Yawn wouldn't matter. Fortunately, I don't get any more burns, and Dusty Dune is able to take out the rest of her team with an Earthquake apiece. Now I must face the Hothead Flint. He leads Houndoom, yikes, and I lead Good Egg and immediately set up Light Screen while he sets up Sunny Day. Then I yawn it, forgetting about Early Bird, and switch to Melty Molten on a Flamethrower. Then I go to good old Dusty Dune and use the TM move I saved specifically for this fight, Rock Polish. Gliscor can outspeed a lot of things, but Infernape and Rapidash are not among them. The Houndoom does wake up and uses a Flamethrower that definitely would have killed if it crit, but it doesn't, and it doesn't burn, so my speed boosted Dusty Dune can rip through Flint's entire team with Earthquake. Dusty Dune's Elite Four kill count is now up to 10. Fourth is the Psychic Expert Lucian. Deep Dark takes out the Mr. Mime with a Night Slash, then the Gallade comes out, so I switch to Dusty Dune who walls it pretty well and can kill it with 2 Aerial Aces, just taking a weak Psycho Cut in the meantime. Next up is Espeon, so I switch to Deep Dark for free on a Psychic, and then defeat it with another Night Slash. Against Bronzong, I switch to Melty Molten on a Gyro Ball, and then take it out with a Flamethrower. Last is Alakazam, but I get to switch to Deep Dark for free again as it too goes for Psychic, so a final Night Slash wins me my last Elite Four battle. Things have gone pretty smoothly so far, but I'm not out of the water yet. Cynthia's team is higher level than mine thanks to the cap being based on Lucian, so I need a complicated plan, and if it goes wrong I'll be in trouble. But, well, nothing to do but go forward. The plan hinges on Spiritomb having 4 special moves, and Good Egg using the other TM move I saved, Captivate. This allows me to lower the Spiritomb's special attack until it's doing very little damage, then yawn it to sleep. I do have to worry about crits, but I'm really not in trouble unless it crits multiple times in a row. Then, I switch to Gusty Garden and set up a Leech Seed. Next, the plan is to switch back and forth between Gusty Garden and Deep Dark. Gusty Garden baits Psychic, which Deep Dark is immune to, and Deep Dark baits Silver Wind, which does very little to Gusty Garden. Eventually, once it's out of Silver Winds, I yawn it back to sleep and bring in Deep Dark, who sets up 2 Swords Dances. After that, well, you can watch what happens. So, I did it. This was definitely not the toughest of runs. I got guaranteed access to some super strong mons in Gliscor and Weavile, and my encounters were pretty much all great. I enjoyed the challenge though, and I'm looking to do some more like this in the future. As always, I'm happy to see suggestions in the comments. Until next time.